She's jealous of you, and now it's obvious. It started off subtle. Little comments here and there, the kind that don't sound like much unless you're really paying attention. Like when you walked in the room and her smile dropped for just a second too long, or when she complimented your outfit, but followed it with something that made it feel less like praise and more like a warning. I noticed it. At first, I brushed it off, told myself I was overthinking, that maybe she was just having a bad day, or maybe I was seeing something that wasn't there. But then it kept happening. Every time I mentioned your name, her tone would shift, her eyes would narrow just a bit, and she'd suddenly find a way to steer the conversation in another direction. She's jealous of you, and now it's obvious. She used to be warm, easy to talk to. She'd ask me about everything, my goals, my plans, my day. But the moment you entered the picture, her questions turned into comparisons. Not loud, not direct, just different. Like when I told her about something you did that made me smile, and she said, "Oh, she's really trying hard, huh?" As if effort was something suspicious. As if being loved well suddenly meant it must be fake. She never said it outright, but I saw it. In the way she started pointing out your flaws, things she didn't even know for sure, just assumptions dressed up as concerns. She seems a little too quiet. Do you really know her? I just want you to be careful. But let's be honest. That wasn't care. That was envy, wrapped up in fake kindness and forced smiles. Because you shine. You carry yourself with a kind of softness that makes people feel safe. You don't try to compete. You don't try to impress. You just are. And that's what threatens her. Because you walk into a room and don't need to be the loudest to be noticed. You don't beg for attention. It finds you. You love without performance. And for someone who's used to being the center of everything, that's uncomfortable. But the more she shows her jealousy, the clearer things become. This isn't about you being wrong. It's about you being everything she pretended to be. The calm dot, the real. The woman who doesn't need to compete because she already knows her worth. So now, I don't doubt what I feel anymore. I see it for what it is. And the sad part, she could have chosen to support us. She could have welcomed you in. She could have been a part of something beautiful. But instead, she chose comparison. She chose to watch from the sidelines, waiting for cracks in something that's already stronger than she'll admit. I tried to ignore it, tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, tried to believe that maybe, just maybe, it was all in my head. But you can only overlook so many little digs before they start cutting deep. Like the way she looks at you, not curious, not even cold, but calculated, like she's studying you, trying to figure out what it is that I see in you, trying to find something, anything she can use to convince herself you're not as real as you seem. I caught her watching you once. You weren't even looking her way. You were laughing. Probably at something simple. I said, and I saw her face shift. Not in anger, but in discomfort. Because people who perform don't know how to handle someone who's just genuine. She's always been good at being liked, at putting on that perfect face when it's time to show up and impress. But you're not trying to be liked, you're just being yourself. And people still lean in, still listen, still smile around you. That's what's eating at her. Because for the first time, she's standing next to someone who doesn't need attention and still receives it. Someone who doesn't play the game, but still wins the heart. And now, every interaction is layered. She compliments you, but it sounds rehearsed. She invites you, but her energy shifts the second you arrive. She asks questions, but never actually listens to the answers. And I notice every pause, every eye roll when you're not looking. Every backhanded remark she thinks I won't catch, but I do. And I won't ignore it anymore, because I've learned something important in all of this. Jealousy doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, smiles, pretends to support, while secretly hoping to see cracks. But what she doesn't know is, we're not built on show, we're built on truth. You've never needed to fight for my attention, never had to convince me of your worth. You walk with quiet confidence, the kind that makes noise without needing to raise its voice. And I admire that. I protect that. Because what we have, it's not just love, it's peace, it's clarity, it's connection without effort. So while she's watching, comparing, trying to find reasons why I chose you, let her, because the truth is, you're everything she's been pretending to be, and that truth. It's starting to show. It's wild how people reveal themselves, not through what they say, but through what they can't hide. And now, it's all out in the open, the shade, the tension, the fake smiles that don't reach her eyes anymore. I used to defend her, used to tell myself, she's just protective, she's just adjusting, because I didn't want to believe it was jealousy. I didn't want to believe someone I once trusted could carry something so small, so petty, so obvious, and let it grow into full-on resentment. But now I can't unsee it. She used to be subtle. Now she doesn't even try to hide it. Like the way she interrupts you when you speak, as if your words only matter until hers come in to replace them. The way she corrects you when you're clearly just sharing your opinion, not facts, not arguments, just your voice. Or the way she always brings up your past, little things you've told me in private. Things that were never her business to begin with. She's trying to make you small, trying to poke holes in your confidence, trying to remind you, I knew him first, I was here before you. But what she doesn't understand is, knowing someone first doesn't mean knowing them best. Because I've changed since she knew me, grown, evolved, and the person I've become, you helped shape that, with your presence, with your patience, with your ability to love me without needing to own me. That's what she can't stand, because she thought she had that place permanently. She thought history guaranteed her space. She thought I'd never choose anyone who saw me differently, more deeply, but I did. And now she's mad. Because she's realizing something that stings more than being left behind, being replaced by someone who didn't have to try. You didn't have to perform. You didn't have to prove. You didn't have to one-up or compete. You just were. And it was enough. That's what jealousy can't accept. Jealousy wants to believe it's unfair, that you must have done something manipulative to be loved this deeply, that I must be blind, fooled, under some spell. Because if none of that is true, then she has to accept the hardest truth of all, that she lost a connection. Not because someone stole it, but because she never knew how to handle it. And here's what hurts her the most. You're not loud, you're not dramatic. You don't even acknowledge her gains. You just stay graceful. You just keep shining. And that quiet glow, it exposes everything loud in her that's insecure. So no, I don't need to explain to anyone why I chose you. I don't need to respond to her little jabs, or answer to the people who say she's just looking out for you. Because if that were true, she wouldn't be tearing down the woman who's lifted me higher than she ever did. So let her talk, let her whisper, let her post, let her roll her eyes when you walk in. I see her now, and I see you even more clearly. I wish I could tell you it stopped, that once I made it clear where I stood, she backed off, that she finally understood I wasn't going anywhere, and neither were you. But jealousy doesn't just disappear. It lingers, it adapts. And now it's not just her words, it's her actions. She'll show up to places she never used to care about, just because she hears you'll be there. She'll laugh a little louder when we're nearby, try a little harder to look unfazed, but it's forced. Every move she makes now feels like a reaction, like she's trying to prove something. But I'm not watching her the way I used to. My eyes are on you, and that's what burns her most, because it used to be her name. I'd say without thinking, used to be her stories I'd remember first. Used to be her advice I leaned on, even when it came with quiet judgment. But now, I'm not confused anymore. I see the difference between someone who wants to be seen and someone who sees me. She's stuck in a cycle, still trying to win a race. I stopped running, still comparing her noise to your quiet grace. And it's painful to watch, because part of me remembers who she used to be. Before the jealousy, before the little digs, before the competition she created in a game only she's playing. But the truth is, I don't miss that version enough to invite her back into the space we've built. This space, it's sacred, because you helped create it, with gentleness, with kindness, with honesty that never came at the cost of someone else's peace. That's what separates you from her. She needs a crowd to feel valid. You're enough standing quietly beside me. She needs attention to feel secure. You find security in connection. She tries to outshine. You just shine. And that difference, it's felt in every room, every conversation, every glance she throws your way. When she thinks no one notices, but I notice, and I protect. Because no one, not her, not anyone, gets to ruin this. Not when I found something that makes me better, more grounded, more myself. So when she tries again, because she will, when she tries to insert herself back into the story, make subtle claims, rewrite history, to make herself the victim, let her, because I won't entertain it. I won't dim your light just to keep her ego warm. I chose you for all the reasons she can't fake. And the more she pushes, the clearer it becomes. She's jealous of you, and now it's obvious.